I was brought up, you've got a problem, you fix it. You got a problem, you fix it. You got a problem, you fix it. Same thing with relationships, but you can't do it that way.
You can't, and so and plus your profession is there's a problem and there's always an answer to it. You're a computer expert is what you do. So and that works pretty well in your profession, but it won't work well in your relationship because relationships aren't logical and they're not linear.
Right.
So we have to approach it in a different way. Hey everybody, I'm Chuck Rogers and my very good friend Keith Dunn. And together we are Tabletop Coffee, where we talk about how to do life, do it well, being bold, and...
never bitter. Never ever.
And tonight we have a big ask. And the big ask is that you please subscribe to our channel. And make sure to ding that bell so that you're...
notified. Notified of any upcoming videos. We're just wanting to continue on with this content and...
yeah, really grow the channel.
Yeah, grow it and just keep bringing this out to everyone who's watching.
And tonight will be part 2.
Yes.
Of a series on the Anatole Rapoport technique about how to talk with the other person, how to talk with your spouse so that they can be heard at 100%. And last week we did part 1, just making sure that both of us were really understood, because I'm a messy and you're a neat, and how to regulate that. So stay tuned. We'll show you how it's done.
Oh, and definitely stay tuned and watch the first video if you haven't seen it, because I get to be the wife. It's amazing.
Yeah, that was the messy when I was leaving stuff in the sink.
You were leaving stuff in the sink.
And so you were the neat woman coming home wanting me to not leave stuff in the sink. Okay.
Right, and you told me that the reason that you were upset, because you said you were mad. You were angry. And you were angry because I wanted everything to look like a museum. And you were afraid that our kids were not going to want to stay in our home
and spend time
with us.
So that's the dream. The dream is to be able to have our prodigy to stay with us throughout the rest of our lives. And my fear is they won't want to come around because of how the memories that they're going to take with them from our house having to be perfect and a museum, and as opposed to lived in.
Right, and we haven't come to a resolution on this at all. All we did last week was go through the process of writing things down for each other, listening to what each person says, 2 to 3 sentences,
right,
and repeating that back so that the other person knows that you're hearing them and understanding to 100%.
And we went from 25 to 100.
And I went from 15 to 100.
100. So it was a very, very quick process, actually. I've been able to get to 100% understanding. So after you get 100% understanding, then you have to look at enduring vulnerabilities, any smoking embers that you have from your past. And so what we're going to do right now in this next part is look to see if there are any stories associated with messiness.
Okay. And
fear of being too neat. And neatness and fear of being too messy.
Okay, I understand that a little bit.
I'll show you how to look for them.
Yeah. So when I was growing up, things were just a real mess in the house. And there'd be cans laying all over the place and food left out. And I just didn't feel very good. It made me feel really bad as a kid. I didn't feel like I could ever bring any kids over, any of my friends over.
Okay, so the story is for you that's connected as growing up, things were a mess in your house.
Yeah.
I mean, you've shared some of that with me in the past.
Yeah.
And there was food all over. It was really bad, and it was embarrassing. I think it would be what you were feeling, embarrassing, and so you couldn't bring friends over.
Yeah. And so I think that plays into, not that I want a museum, but I just want somewhere that is clean enough to where I don't feel bad when somebody comes over to visit. And I don't feel like it's just a complete piled up mess all the time. I'm okay with things being lived in. A clean mess would be better for me, if that makes any sense.
Well, I think it does. And so not dirty, maybe some disorganization, but keep it to a minimum because it's reminding, it triggers you of living in a mess growing up.
That's right.
And you don't want that for you. You don't want that for our kids.
Right.
And you want them to not feel embarrassed about bringing people over.
Right.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah. So how about you?
Yeah, I would say that it's reminding me of my home growing up, where things, you kind of had to feel like you had a broom behind you to sweep up your feet behind you as you went. And it was like I could never keep it nice enough. I could never keep it straight enough.
Helga, when you polish the floor, you have to move the tree.
I don't want to ever go back to that. And so I'm afraid that our kids won't ever want to go back to it either. And that they won't want to be around us in the future. So that's my story.
Yeah, well, I can definitely understand that. And if you are in that position where you feel like you don't want to go home, I can see how you can feel that same way about our kids.
Yeah, I want to be comfortable.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. All right, so time out. That's how you do looking for enduring vulnerability, smoking embers from your past that are connected to the story.
Okay.
And that doesn't solve the issue for you. It doesn't solve the issue for me, but it gives us a greater pool of empathy from which we can draw. It makes it softer for us. So then you truly do to the next part, which is looking for a request. I'd like to make a request of you about how I'd like it to be done in the future. So do you have ideas, about thoughts, or requests that you'd like to make of me about how to begin to do this differently in our home?
I think so. And listening to your side of the story, it helps me to temper my side some so that I don't try to go overboard.
Yeah.
So what if we were to meet somewhere in the middle and say, I still would like the dishes to be put up, but I don't want to have to do it all of the time. But if you could help me, or we maybe sit down with the kids, and it's not on me or you, it's
more of an us.
Everybody is chipping in and doing their part.
Okay, so the dishes are a big deal. I've heard that several times.
Mm-hmm.
So the dishes need to be put up, maybe not all the time. Certainly not just me, not just you, but the kids to chip in and make it more of a family project to tackle as opposed to just a you project.
Yeah, and I think it is just a me project because I put that on me.
Okay, so it's you take it upon yourself.
But I feel really awful inside when it is left this way.
Feel awful. I don't want you to feel awful. I don't know the answer for sure, but I know I don't want you to feel awful.
Okay.
I never want you to feel awful.
So do you think we could come to some agreement somewhere along the line to make this work for both of us?
And what I'd like is I would like us to make a request of sitting down with the kids right away and get their input, get their buy-in, because I don't want to be the only one. I don't want you putting all of my stuff away. I don't want you to put all their stuff away. And I certainly don't want to be the one to put any of it away, really, but I certainly don't want to do it all.
Right.
So I'd like everybody's buy-in.
What I'm hearing is you're okay with sitting down with the kids, but you would like for them to buy into this or want to have a part of this, so it's not
some
on
ownership. Yeah.
You really don't want to do it at all.
Right.
But would you do it some?
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be done at some point anyway. So
Okay.
why not maybe do it a little bit as it goes along?
Okay.
And I think I can do a better job.
Okay.
This is a big ask, but
Okay.
I would like to at least look at the idea of having somebody come in, a housekeeper, once a week or twice a week to do some light housework. And I know there's a cost involved.
I've thought of that in the past as well. I'm hearing what you're saying about bringing in a housekeeper once or twice a week, and that you realize that there's a cost involved, but having somebody else to take care of these different things. So you're working hard, I'm working hard, and
Here we are.
it kind of takes some of that off of us.
Maybe not twice a week, maybe just once a week, at least to try it for an experiment for a couple months.
Okay.
and see how it goes. I mean, it might be the worst idea in the world. It might be the best, or somewhere in between. But if we could pay a few dollars a month,
Right.
and it resolves this problem for us, I mean, that'd be money well spent, I think.
Thinking along those same lines, because I don't think the money issue is such a big deal, especially once a week. I think twice a week might be more than
Probably.
we could even afford. But what if we were to open that up to the kids and offer them the opportunity of having a job at the house, making this little bit of money that we would be paying someone else? And we'd kind of be...
Hire the kids.
Yeah, hire the kids and get them to take care of it.
I'd love the experiment. I don't know if it'll work or not, but
I don't either.
I would love to try that. I love the idea.
I love the idea too. I like the idea of trying to keep that money in-house and being able to give them something so then they can go buy something that they want, and we're not buying those things for them. So it works out in their favor all the way around anyway.
I think it's a great idea to try. I'm all on board.
Okay.
Try this for, what do you think, a month or 2 months?
Yeah, let's try it for a month and see how that goes, because I think we'll know within a month whether the kids are going to stay on top of it.
I'm on board with that.
And then if not, then we'll look and see what we can do as far as getting a housekeeper in.
Yeah. How does that feel for you?
I love it.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good inside. It makes me realize that, okay, once a week, somebody is going to help out, and they're going to clean up behind us and take care of things and put things away. And, it takes 2 or 3 days for things to get to be a pretty big mess anyway. So I've got a period of at least 3 days where I'm feeling pretty comfortable about things in the house. And then I can pick up a little bit here and there, and it won't be so much on me.
I like it.
Okay. I do too. Yeah. That sounds like a great resolution.
Let's give it a try.
Okay. Sounds good.
So there you are. There is how to communicate to 100% understanding, not 100% agreement, but 100% understanding. You look at the enduring vulnerability. What's the story from your past that keeps you hung up with this topic, whatever it is, and then begin to brainstorm as opposed to blamestorm about possible ideas about how to move forward by making requests.
And I felt so much more comfortable this week than last week, because I didn't understand last week at all until we got into it. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I fix this? But tonight was about coming up with the resolution and actually fixing it, which makes more sense to me.
Yeah, I think it truly was fixed for us, at least for an idea to try for a while. And it's kind of bubbled up on its own.
It did.
Yeah.
And it felt good along the way.
Yeah. And I realized it was just a role play, but role plays have a way of kind of taking on a life of their own.
I think it definitely did.
Yeah.
I think if we were living in the same place together, I think we might have that conversation. I don't know who would be neat and who would be messy, but in real life. But it was fun to role play and get through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you liked what you listened to tonight, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Ding that bell so you get notified of upcoming videos. And
make sure to like it.
Yep. Until next time.
Thanks, everyone.